The fourth annual Prep Bowl continues with the Class B championship game. The Jackson Blue Jays versus the Mahnomen Indians. Brought to you by Monsanto Lasso. Less stress, more yield.
Welcome back to the 1985 Prep Bowl. 2 titles down, 3 to go. Hello, everybody. I'm Joe Schmidt along with Doug Kingsrider, and we're set to bring you the Class B title game in which we have a couple of teams with 12-1 records. The Jackson Blue Jays are up against the Mahnomen Indians. And, Doug, I think we've got a game here that matches the size of Mahnomen against the speed and quickness of that Blue Jay team.
Oh, we certainly do, Joe. The Mahnomen team has always been large. They must feed them right up there or something, but they're a big team, and they've been winning this year by just pushing people over. Of course, now Jackson is going to have to rely upon finesse and quickness, and they've mentioned that. Coach Wacker has said that time and time again in order to win the game.
Well, Mahnomen has the great tradition, and Jackson has faced a very tough schedule this year.
Yes, they have. They played a number of Class A teams, and if I had my choice, I'd rather pick having a difficult schedule in preparing for a game as important as this.
What does tradition mean? Mahnomen's been here before.
Well, tradition means everything. If I were a high school player and I had been a part of a winning tradition, walked down the street, everyone in the town expects you to win the championship. And that's a given. In other words, we know you're going to win the championship, but are you going to win the big game this year? So you have to maintain that standard.
One of the outstanding players, Wade Wacker, the son of Tyrone Wacker. He's the quarterback over there for Jackson.
Yes, he is an excellent quarterback. In fact, he is receiving some inquiries from some major colleges now. He's just a junior, very, very smart, calls his own plays, and he has a receiver named John Lilleberg, who oftentimes is double covered. So they're a pair to watch.
And on the other side, there's a young running back named Frank Burdick from Mahnomen. He's a sophomore, and the major colleges are starting to look at him, too. And we're going to be looking at both teams when we come back with more action on the 1985 Prep Bowl after this timeout. So far, 2 very high-scoring games. Let's see what's going to happen in Class B. But first, let's meet the participants in this final matchup between Jackson and Mahnomen. Now down to the PA announcers.
Would the teams please report to their bench area? We're about ready to begin with the pregame introductions and coin toss. Will the Jackson and Mahnomen teams now please line up at the hash marks? Team captains and coaches also please take the field for the introductions for the Class B championship. The visiting team in this game is the champion of the Southwest Conference, Jackson. The home team and champions of the Heart of Lakes Conference in this game, Mahnomen. The Jackson captains, number 30, Mike Lloyd, number 62, Eric Ringquist. The Mahnomen captains, number 10, Mark Petrick, number 44, Tim Miller, number 77, Jason, 89, Doug Johnson. Gentlemen, the coin toss. Mahnomen will receive. Jackson will kick off and defend the south goal. Coaching Jackson is Tyrone Wacker. And coaching Mahnomen is Ken Bauman. And now, gentlemen, please meet at midfield for the Prep Bowl pregame handshake. And we're now ready for the Class B championship game. Your officials for this game, the line judge is Dick Goss, the linesman Ron Diggory, the umpire is Larry Teskey, and your referee is John Springer.
can take those out again. I'll have the regular just because. And we're back. The 1985 Prep Bowl, the Class B title game is just about set between Jackson and Mahnomen. And Doug Kingsrider, we mentioned earlier about the high scoring so far in the Prep Bowl. 2 games, and both times we have a new record as far as scoring goes.
That's right. We've had 2 games in a row in which we've set the record. In the game that we had, Class C, and then in the game that just took place between Norman County West and Westbrook, 63 points scored and 52 in the first game. So we're anticipating a lot of high scoring today.
Glendon, Felton, and Westbrook so far have state titles, and now we'll see what happens here in the Class B title game. And Jackson will kick off. The Blue Jays, number 31, will be doing the kicking for Jackson, and that is Jeffrey Brown. All set to go in the Class B title game. Back deep, Tim Miller and Frank Burdick. And it's a low kick, meant to be a tough one to handle, and it's smothered right there. The kick did its purpose. On the ball was Byron Bierge, the big defensive tackle for Mahnomen.
Well, he did the smart thing, Joe, in falling on the ball, Byron did, because that's what you have to do. Those players haven't received the training or the practice in running with a football. They're likely to fumble.
There you see the starting backfield and receivers for the Mahnomen team. Across the line, McCullum, Spaeth, Leslie Large, and McCullum. A couple of brothers are bookends here. It's first down, 10 yards to go. The pitch goes back to Burdick, and hey, he's got some speed. We've heard a lot about this Frank Burdick. He's only a sophomore, 5'11", 175 pounds, and did he take off?
He took off, and I tell you, the great skill there was in receiving that pitch and then being able to turn up quickly and gather that ball.
Here we take a look at the Jackson defense. They'll line up in the 5-2. Linebackers, a couple of active ones, Jim Reed and Mike Lloyd. They'll be in on a lot of tackles in a very solid secondary. And on that first play, Frank Burdick just about picked up a first down. They're going to measure it. Frank Burdick, 269 carries this season. He's only a sophomore, and he's got a career in his sophomore year as far as carrying the football.
You think about any one person gaining over 1,500 yards in a season. That's quite remarkable.
Especially when his name isn't Peyton or Dickerson.
That's correct. And it talks about his stability in terms of a player. To have that many carries, 269, and be able to maintain that kind of discipline throughout the season is just, he's a very, very strong player.
Mark Agnew is the quarterback. He's a junior. He started since his freshman year at quarterback, so he has 3 years of experience and still has 1 more year to go. And he has led the Mahnomen Indians into the Prep Bowl in 1985. A 12-1 record, the champion of the Heart of Lakes Conference. It's second and short. The first man through is Jeff Large, and Large is met by a very large member of the Jackson Blue Jay defense. Eric Ringquist in on the tackle. It'll be very close to a first down. I don't believe he did get the first down, though. It was no gain. It'll be third down and less than a yard. It's third down, less than a yard to go. The give to the second man through is Frank Burdick. He has the first down, a pickup of 6 yards on the play. Burdick up to the 44-yard line. And you can see he has tremendous quickness. He's just so quick off that start that he accelerates to full speed within a couple of steps.
As you can see, he's an offensive lineman dream. There really isn't much of a hole. They don't have to hold their blocks that long before all of a sudden he's through it, and it makes the line look great, and they love a player like him.
The ball's up to the 44-yard line. Both these teams came into the game with 12-1 records. The give on the counter, and the counter goes absolutely nowhere. Lonnie Bloomquist tackles on the play. Tim Miller, the running back, number 44, he gained 434 yards during the season, 4 touchdowns, 5'10", 165-pound senior. The only loss this year for Mahnomen, a 16-3 loss to Breckenridge. They came back and beat Breckenridge in the playoffs in one of the most exciting games in the playoffs, 21-17. They had to come back 3 times in that game, come back from deficits to win that game. Agnew will put it up, and Agnew is airing it out, but it is overthrown, intending to hit Doug Johnson on the play, but the pass simply thrown too far.
I had opportunity to watch the defensive line of the Jackson Blue Jays that time, Joe, and they're fairly strong. We talked about their finesse and quickness, but they were shoving back the Mahnomen offensive line pretty well. Mahnomen was the Class B runner-up in '79 and 1982, and they were also the Class B champion in 1980, so they've been here before.
This is their 9th trip to the state playoffs. Ken Bauman in his 17th year, a great football tradition at Mahnomen. All the kids like to play football. Agnew will put it up, and once again, he's off his mark, intended for Tim Miller, but Miller was covered very well out on the flat. So that'll bring up a 4th down situation.
Mark Agnew had a very tough read that time. It was an obvious passing situation, 3rd down and 11. Very smart play by the Jackson defense. The linebackers backed up deep and created a lot of coverage in the flat. There were probably 3 defenders in the vicinity where the receiver was that time, Joe.
Well, watch out here because they've got a very good punt returner in Wade Wacker. He's returned the ball for 11 yards a clip. Agnew gets the punt off. It's a low-line drive punt, but Andy Lundblad will take the punt, and he's up across the 35-yard line, finally taken down at the 39-yard line. So when Jackson takes over, they'll be in pretty good position on their own 39-yard line. It was a 32-yard punt with a 14-yard return for Andy Lundblad. Here's the offensive backfield and receivers for Jackson. Watch Wade Wacker. He's an outstanding quarterback. Here's the offensive line. Not big, but quick. Wade Wacker, the son of head coach Tyrone Wacker. We'll get into more of that as the game progresses. On 1st down, a fumbled snap. The ball's loose, and I believe that Mahnomen has come up with it on the very first snap from scrimmage. And there's a timeout on the field. Mahnomen has the ball in excellent field position. We'll be back in a minute. And it's a very tough way for Jackson to start, Doug.
Very difficult way. Byron Birgie making a very, very heads-up play. Jumps on the ball and recovers it for Mahnomen.
And the Indians will take over 1st and 10. The ball on the Blue Jay 39-yard line. Agnew, he wants it all. He's looking long and has his man, but the ball is dropped. The pass intended for Kevin Hedstrom. Hedstrom did get his hands on the ball, but couldn't come down with it.
Kevin made a nice move. He was getting tangled up with the defender, and he was able to work himself clear to get a clean shot at the ball. It hit him in both the hands. Again, it was diving backward, a difficult catch. One that would have put them way downfield had he been able to make that great play.
Well, Floyd of Rosedale looks like it's going to stay down in Iowa. 31-9. The Hawkeyes lead it late in the 4th quarter over the Minnesota Gophers as Frank Burdick takes the ball for a couple of yards. Goes up the middle. Eric Ringquist in on the tackle. All right. A lot of smart juniors that go to, I believe that was from Jackson. I think that's a class with exceptional potential.